So here we are in chapter 2, and we're starting at question 4. As we've said before, we won't go through every one of the questions with you, though we do end up going through quite a lot of them. But some of the questions are there just for you to think about and for you to reflect upon your own experience. Some of them, though, when they begin to delve into a scriptural passage, it seems like a good idea to provide a little bit of guidance, a little bit of extra thought that might be a help to you or in leading a group or in your own meditation. And so we're in chapter 2, we're at question 4, which raises a question from Jesus in the book of Mark chapter 7. And he's raising the issue that there's something wrong inside of us. He says, in the context, he's talking about food. And he says, what you eat isn't what defiles you. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. It's what comes out of your heart that defiles you. It's the things you do and the things you say and the things you think. These are the things that leave you unclean in the face of God. This is where sin originates, which is a great teaching. If you want to, you might compare it to what James says in chapter 1 of his book, where he says that we sin, or we fall into sin, or sin overtakes us when we're led away, when we're enticed by our sinful desires, when we're enticed by our own desires. So it starts with us and it gains power, and it overcomes us at times. Sometimes we find that we didn't plan to respond this way. We plan not to respond this way, perhaps. We didn't plan to do this. All of a sudden we find it bursts forth, and there we are doing it. Sometimes, however, we're in the midst of saying something. Our mouth is saying something, and our head is saying, whoa, 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 don't say that. And it's too late. It's out, and you think, where did that come from? And the answer is here in this passage, as Jesus says, it comes out of your heart. There's something there that's been cooking for a while, and it's finally exposed itself. Now, we might want to compare this to the discussion about inbred sin, which will come up later. I think probably Jesus is not talking about inbred sin, though certainly it connects to the discussion about inbred sin, that original sin, that weakness within us, that corruption within us as a result of the fall, that we're not able to live as we want to live. And so that original sin is what empowers this stuff that's going on inside my heart. But really, Jesus is saying, take responsibility for your own heart. The things that are happening in your heart, you've put there, you've drawn in, you've witnessed things, you've experienced things, perhaps things that leave you bitter, or perhaps experiences or sights that leave you coveting or lusting or something like that. And so Jesus is saying, take responsibility for yourself, but not just that, be aware that this is going on inside of you, because this is the beginning of the gospel, is understanding your own frailty, your own weakness, your own vulnerability to sin, and confessing your sin, repenting of your sin, and then drawing upon the forgiveness, the mercy of Christ, and the power of the Spirit. This is the beginning of the gospel, is waking up to realize that there's something wrong inside of me, that even I'm not happy with the way I'm behaving. And so God can lead us on from there, and I trust he does through the rest of these questions.